Good day everyone, I am Stephanie Colindi Gonzalez, a BPE-SPE first year student, the first reporter of Group 5, which is the neuroendocrine system response to exercise. But before we start in our discussion, let us first know our objective. First, to define what is exercise in neuroendocrine adaptation. Second, to discuss the two biological control systems. The third, to discuss heavy resistance exercise and hormonal increases. The fourth is the important functions of the endocrine system during exercise. Also, during the entire discussion, the listener might have fun while listening. At this point of time, let us answer the question, what is neuroendocrine adaptation? So, neuroendocrine adaptation is a change in the body that affects you either neurologically or hormonally. Also, the most important adaptation to exercise are in part or completely a result of hormonal or neurological shift. Now, we will answer the question, which is what is exercise? Exercise is a physical stress applied to the human body. The endocrine system consists of glands that release the chemicals and hormones that control physiological function in the body. We are done in our first objective. Now, let us proceed in our second objective, which is to discuss the two biological control systems. And the two biological control system is endocrine and nervous system. So, in nervous system is a complex collection of nerves and specialized cells known as neurons that transmit signal between different parts of the body. Also, the endocrine system is made up of glands that make hormones. Therefore, hormones are the body's chemical messenger. They carry information and instruction from one set of cells to another. Next is rate exercise. In rate exercise, it must need increased ATP for our body to be more active and more aggressive during exercise. The higher it is, the more calories you burn. The tendency is to lose weight because having a high metabolism can also give you energy and make you feel better during exercise. So are you still there? Shake your hands to have energy. So we should know that nervous system and endocrine system works together to control physiological required to perform exercise. Along with the nervous system, the endocrine system coordinates the body to function to maintain homeostasis during rest and exercise. Also, it includes the endocrine glands and hormones. Endocrine glands produce and secrete hormones, body structure specialized for releasing hormones into the blood. Hormones is chemical messengers that are synthesized, stored, and released into the body by endocrine glands and certain other cells. So there are types of hormones that act different aspects of bodily function and process. First is hormone receptor on target tissues, carrying messages to target tissue. Also, most hormones circulate in blood coming into contact with essentially all cells. However, a given hormone usually affects only a limited number of cells, which are called target cells. Second is the epinephrine or adrenaline and norepinephrine. These hormones play a key role in cardio training as they aid the sympathetic nervous system in its functions. Epinephrine is a stress hormone and elevates blood sugar to sustain energy and increases heart rate, which enable a more explosive workout. And now, we are in our third objectives, which is the heavy resistance exercise and hormonal increases. Androgen receptor, it allows the body to respond appropriately to these hormones. When we do some heavy exercise or training, it increases our androgen and there have possibilities that our muscles is much stronger. And now, we are in the last part objective, which is the important functions of the endocrine system during exercise. First is to help the metabolism of a human to produce energy to regulate or flow in our body. Second is fluid and electrolyte balance is a term used to describe the balance of the input and output of fluids from the body in order to allow metabolic process to function correctly. Lastly, fluid and electrolyte balance is one of the key issues in maintaining homeostasis in the body, and it also plays important roles in protecting cells or function, tissue proportion, and acid-base balance. Yes, we are in the last part of our discussion. In conclusion, exercise reduces levels of the body, stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. It also stimulates the production of endorphins, chemical in the brain that are the body's natural painkillers and mood elevator. Also, hormone literally govern everything we do, and we train different movement patterns. We are training the nervous system on how to respond to the different situation, removing and grooving those patterns. So, there's that neurological response. When most people start right away, they elevated. They get best in everything because their brain is learning movements rapidly once we have that neurological response. Now, we're looking for that endocrine response, and that's where a lot of hormones take place. So hormones like testosterone, human growth hormone, insulin, like growth factor, cortisol, they all have a part to play in your body's ability to create muscle, burn fat, and supply you for work. So that ends our discussion. I hope that you learn, and the other type will be discussed by my partner.
Muscle as the target for hormone interaction. Hormones are intimately involved with protein synthesis and degradation mechanisms that are part of muscle adaptation to resistance exercise. This includes both anabolic, promote tissue building, and catabolic, degrade cell proteins hormones. In short, hormones are responsible for the adaptation to bodily kinesthetics. Pituitary gland. During exercise, the pituitary gland releases human growth hormone, which tells the body to increase bone, muscle, and tissue production. So, during an activity, the pituitary gland reacts by regulating the body's growth hormone. Thyroid gland. When you start exercising, the thyroid gland, located at the base of the neck, sends out hormones that regulate body's temperature, heart rate, and blood pressure. It also regulates the alertness and focus that are needed to work at high intensity. So, it is the thyroid gland's job that regulate hormones that will facilitate the human body's temperature, pulse rate, or heart rate, and blood pressure. Adrenal gland. The adrenal gland are responsible for the release of cortisol into bloodstream. Cortisol levels control blood pressure, glucose, and act as an anti-inflammatory agent. The adrenal glands also release aldosterone, a hormone that regulates hydration levels, the speed of the heart, and the strength of construction. It is also turns stored carbohydrates into energy. Aside from the said function, in both men and women, the adrenal cortex produces both male and female sex hormones throughout life in relatively small amounts. Pancreas. Insulin regulates glucose and blood sugar by transporting it to the muscle and tissue that use glucose for energy. Excessive insulin in the blood reduces your sensitivity to insulin and can cause diabetes, which is also linked to overweight and obesity. Exercise improves insulin sensitivity and reduces the reliance on insulin injection. The main function of pancreas is to facilitate blood sugar levels that is used as a source of energy for the muscle and tissue. But if insulin that the pancreas produces is too much, it will lead to complication just like diabetes. Being overweight and obesity, performing exercise will greatly benefit the body as it no longer requires insulin. Aside from physical benefits, performing exercise affects the body's psychological state as it produces hormones that reduce your sensitivity to pain.